Well, hello everyone. How are ya? I hope you're doing well. I'm still recovering from COVID and getting better though. Certainly better than I was last week. I could barely move last week. Why, that just took it out of me. I tried everything I could to get better and get better as fast as possible. That was number one on my goal. To give you a summary of the week, I lost half a pound, and it's sort of weird when you're on this drug and you see some weeks that you can lose multiple pounds and some weeks where you lose less pounds. It can be like, what's wrong? What's going on? What's happening? And honestly, I have barely moved in 2 weeks. I was that sick. I started out exhausted, went to fevers, and then just was decongesting and everything else like that. But I'm heading in the right track this morning. And so we'll talk a little bit today about just doing the best you can when you can. So down half a pound, so it's a total of 8.6 pounds. Fine, that's in a month. So today would be officially my first month taking Mounjaro. And that means that yesterday I picked up the new dose, which is going from 2.5 to 5. So it's doubling the dose. And I took that dose at around 2 o'clock Central Time. The dose felt strangely like the very first dose I took of Mounjaro 4 weeks ago, where suddenly I could feel myself filling up. See, I'm not making sense. Filling up. I could feel myself filling up. I struggled to gulp water. I'm a water gulper. One of those people who takes out one of these giant water bottles and just starts slugging away at it. I can't do that just after taking this drug. And so again, I feel full and struggle to eat anything else after taking the drug, which is fine because this time I knew and I ate a little bit more before the drug, staying within my calories, so that I knew that when I didn't feel as hungry as I would this afternoon, I at least had the nutrition in me that I needed to get done. So what do we do when we have these situations where we don't feel well? And I'm going to go back to small steps. It is the part where you have to just take small steps. You do what you can when you can do it. If you are feeling sick, if you are exhausted from whatever it is you have, maybe you're just having a bad day or a bad week at work, or you stayed up fixing CloudStrike problems in the computer, you do what you can. And that might mean there's a day you don't exercise. That might mean that you go to bed early and you don't worry about what you did that day. I have barely moved in the last 2 weeks, but I suddenly realized that my focus is getting better. I have to do everything I can to get over this faster because it was dragging me down. It was making me feel terrible. And I couldn't really go to the gym when I was testing positive. So number one focus beyond anything had to be feeling better. It means I didn't really exercise a whole lot over the week. There were a few times where I tried doing some stretching to make sure that I just stayed limber, that my achy muscles felt okay. So I did some stretching. I did some light resistance training, but nothing too terribly difficult. And I did what I could every day. I ate as well as I possibly could. But there were times I was too tired to make anything to eat in the past 2 weeks. And so I did have some little mini pizzas. They're not the worst things in the world, but they're also probably not the healthiest thing in the world. But you know what? It was the only thing I could get down. The other interesting thing is I lost all my sense of smell and my taste with COVID, which is rare, I think. It was rare back then. It's even more rare now. The fact that you're on this drug and you don't feel like eating very much, you add to COVID, which completely killed any appetite that I had. And then on top of that, I can't taste anything anyway, except salt, bitterness, and sweet. I can taste those things because I think they don't rely on your sense of smell. So I stuck with very simple things, but things sometimes that I could just put in the microwave, which I tend not to eat, but just being sick, I had to get something in my system. Because could I have walked away with eating practically nothing for the last week? Absolutely. But again, number one goal is to get over COVID, to get just back to where I'm feeling normal again. And to do that, you have to fuel your body. You can't just starve your body and expect it to heal. So I'm almost better. And this morning I went to the gym. I think I look like an absolute mess because everyone kept blowing fans on me and asking me if I was okay. I have tested negative. I had been without fever for 6 days now. So by every benchmark, I was okay to go back to the gym. I tried very hard to make sure I wasn't going to get anyone else sick. But boy, I looked like a mess. I felt like a mess. And when I got back, I did feel it. I was exhausted because remember, I went to a conference right before I got sick. So I missed gym because I was at the conference. And then I got sick. And so it's been a while. I understand that without moving much, without exercising at all, it was going to be a slog and it was going to be a rough day back. But again, you do what you can when you can. That's the most important thing. If there's a day you just can't, then you don't. And you're not going to sit there and beat yourself up on it. But when you feel like you can, like I did this morning, I can go to the gym. I can survive this. It's going to be a rough haul for sure. And I went. And then she asked on Friday what I wanted to do. Did I want to take it easy again? Or did I want to go with a regular workout? And I go with my friends, so we split up the cost of these sessions. And I was like, no, we can do the regular thing. That's fine. I'll survive it. And my friend was like, no, I think we should do the easier thing. Look at her. So people were having pity on me for sure. So again, I took the second dose. It was interesting to see that it had such a big effect on me yet again. And I'm curious just to see if it will last longer with the higher effects. I know that people get used to it, but I got used to the other shot week 2, 3, and 4. So is it going to be that quick when I get used to that shot? I have up to 15 doses scheduled for this upper level. And if I need to, I can ask for more, but my doctor suggested doing this very slowly because once you go too far up, there's no room to grow. And if you get used to that high dose, you have no place to go. Plus, the doses at the higher level are the ones that are having some trouble getting in and in being in stock. So the longer I can stay at the lower dose, the better it is for me. And side effects, the better it is for me not running out of runway on this drug. And it's better for the people who need the higher dose. So I'm going to try to stay on a low dose as much as possible. And I think for me, in general, I don't have the food voices to the extent that many people do. I know my friend, for example, you hear food calling to her all the time. I do a little bit, like, hey, why don't you go get a snack? Or why don't you go do this? Or why don't you eat that? Wouldn't that be good to eat? But I don't think it is anywhere near what most people feel when they are having full food voices. So this drug is enough for me to avoid most of them, to eat a lower calorie diet. But I think the thing that is most important to me is that once you get into this metabolic syndrome where your insulin and your sugars are just so screwed up, it's impossible for you to lose weight. And this drug has unscrewed that up. Before I took the drug, I was eating 1,500 calories a day. Now I'm eating 1,200 calories a day, and I am losing a ton of weight on that. So whatever means I got screwed up, I am unscrewed up now, which I think is just the leg up I needed. Some people need a little bit more. Some people are having huge food voices in their head. And like I said, mine are very more, I would say, recreational. Oh, you're a little bit bored now. Why don't you go get an ice cream? Or why don't you go get a this or that? But I don't think it is what many people feel. An interesting thing that I was talking to my friend at work with, her husband has been taking this drug, is we were talking kind of the ins and outs of this drug. And I think for me, my goal in all of this is to walk away either with my goal weight, or if for some reason this drug has to cease because maybe my insurance company will no longer pay for it, something like that, with good skills, with at least a leg up. Can I lose enough weight, break bad habits I had with Diet Coke, with food and other things, and teach myself to eat this low processed food, low salt, low sugar diet? I think that these foods were concocted to make us addicted to them. That Dorito in the bag, that savory taste that comes out of it. And I think it takes a little bit of time, but if you de-escalate yourself from these high savory processed foods, you can break their hold on you. And that in the end is really my goal. I want to be free of this. I don't want to be depending on this drug and holding on to it like it's a lifesaver in the middle of the ocean. I want to know that I have trained myself to eat a different kind of food. That's my goal. I want to be out of this rat race of weight. I want to be out of this rat race of Diet Coke addiction, whatever food it is that's going out on the grocery stores that are just so bad for you. And so I have worked significantly over the past few years to eat food that you could find on a farm. Not 100% of the way there, but that is my goal, is to start living healthy habits. And then exercise even more once I don't have this weight pounding on my ankles, which I already wrecked once. Being able to exercise and do better when it comes to living a healthy life. And so that is, in the end, my goal. You may have other goals, but I have seen so many people try with these drugs to just live the life they have been living without making changes. You can do that, but then this drug is going to be instrumental to you for the rest of your life. And we never know what's going to happen. We don't know if, for whatever reason, the factory that makes this drug burns down and suddenly we don't have any more and the people who are seriously diabetic have to get it. We don't know what the future holds. So as best as we can equip ourselves to do great with or without the drugs, the better off we're going to be, I think, for our futures. And that, like I said, that in the end is my goal. I want to make use of this drug. It is a gift for as long and as often as my insurance company and the medical world will provide it for me. But the goal is to still create in me these great systems, these processes of eating healthy and breaking away from this addiction of other kinds of food. So that if something did happen, I'm going to be okay. Anyway, that's just kind of my outlook on it. I hope you're having a great week. We'll find out next week if this increased dose does something that kind of kick the weight loss going. Me going back to the gym too probably will have a lot to do with it. So thanks again for watching. Again, you always can email me at jill@startwithsmallsteps.com. I'd love to hear from you or even comment on the channel. YouTube is something that's very new for me. I'm a podcaster. I'm not someone who does YouTube channels. So we're trying to get along, but I'm happy to take whatever comments you have and if you have any questions. Thanks so much and have a great week.